I'm going to tell you a story, well, part of a story, because it would be way too long. And it was the other day, and it's again how I hurt myself, so I was giving out to God and the angels about that. But it's about a little fox, a baby fox. When I was cooking my dinner and getting ready, Angel Hostess says, "Lorna, you've to head to the forest. Leave your dinner." So I came down, put on my boots, and I went this way because I was following two beautiful angels, and I call them the angels of nature, even though we human beings are meant to be the guardian angels of nature. But they were just flying along ahead of me. I wasn't walking this slow. I was moving as quick as I could because I had known this little baby fox all during the week, and I knew it wasn't well. But there was never a way we could catch it. And that made me sad, and I gave out to God and the angels about it. But we have to remember it was happy because it was always playing. And one thing it was playing with at times was a red squirrel. At least I think it was a red squirrel. I never asked the angels about that. But I walked as fast as I could across the bridge here, didn't stop. And I wanted to run across all that grass, but the angel said, "No, Lorna, keep to the path." Because it was evening time. It was starting to get late. Even though the evenings are bright now in Ireland, but when you go into the forest, of course it gets that little bit darker. So I was going like this, as quick as possible, because I knew by the angels in front of me of nature, and they going so fast. I seen them in the distance and no way could I keep up with them. But they would stop every now and then and just tell me to hurry up. And Angel Hostess would say to me, "Lorna, watch your step." And of course, I was being careful. I was watching my step because you're out in nature, you're in the countryside, you're crossing rugged ground. There could be a stick somewhere, a tree trunk coming up, or the roots of a tree, or a branch hitting you in the face. You know, all these little things. And I know Angel Hostess just wanted me to be more aware of nature. And he was doing his best. I love the way, look, isn't that lovely? All the seeds already falling from the tree. Look, I don't know whether you were catching them. But I can tell you, I didn't notice a thing because I was moving so fast. And the angels went in this way. And Angel Hostess said to me, "Slow down now, stop, and be quiet. Walk gently." And that's what I did. But I did walk as fast as I could, but I tried not to make too much noise. And all of the time, I was looking into my right or looking into my left, because at times I could only see the light of the two angels. I couldn't see them in the forest, just their light. It's like they lit up the path, but they didn't light up what was to my right or my left. That was kept in the shade. And every now and then Angel Hostess would say, "Mind your step, Lorna." So when I got up here to where this tree trunk is, they told me to stop for a moment. And I did stop. And I looked around. And I just said to them, "I don't see anything." And they just said, "It's not here. We just want you to stop because you're getting close to where the baby fox is. It just needs a little bit of love." And I suppose the part I even find hard to say, even though I knew something was wrong with it all week, they were telling me it's dying and we can't save it in the sense that it will live. And I remember Angel Hostess' hands on my shoulders and just feeling so sad. But the two angels of nature just said, it needs this little comfort because its mom hasn't been around. So in a sense, I was becoming its mom. And then I was told to walk ahead. And I just walked quietly, trying not to make too much noise. And I was listening to the birds, as you can hear them all singing. And even as I was approaching where the little fox would play, I had to smile because it wasn't very far from what we call one of the prayer trees that were used in ancient times and still are used today, this one here, as you can see. So I would watch it from here, playing. Do you see all that gap there and the branch going across further up? And there was a badger's hole there, so it would be in and out of it playing. And sometimes, I think it was a red squirrel, but I thought I noticed something a little different about it. It would come down and play with the baby cub. But I had no camera. I always tried to see, could I get a picture even? But the angels kept saying, "No, Lorna, that won't happen." So I just walked quietly and I was looking in this direction, thinking this would be where the fox cub would be, but it wasn't. And I just stopped here and I looked. And I walked in just to have a look. Because it would play around here and it would run down this badger's hole here. And sometimes I left a little bit of chicken for it. And of course the chicken would disappear because I'd leave it on the rocks. And then I noticed another hole here. I'm not sure, there's so many badger dens all around. And I did smile because the little fox, it came out and went into the forest. went into this section here. And I just walked up and along here nice and slowly because they told me to look to the right. And I was looking and I was saying, I'm not seeing anything. And I stopped here because of this here. Do you see this? I knew something had been digging at it. And the angels just said, look to the right. And all of this just lit up. And there, in among, I saw this tiny little cub, just lying there looking so exhausted. And of course, how I hurt myself, even though Angel Hostess was constantly telling me, Lorna, be careful, because everything was damp, not dry like today for some reason. And of course I went to grab onto one of the branches. But you have to remember, I had the pup in one hand. I had crawled in and under. There was other bits going across, which I have thrown away since. I had to crawl in and under. And I had got my hand under the little puppy. And I was lifting it gently and talking to it. And I loved the angels of nature. We see all of this around us, but it was like as if all of that wasn't there for them, which was very, very beautiful. And when I had the puppy in my hand, whatever happened on a piece of wood, I lost my footing with one foot as I was coming up. Because remember, I was down on my hunkers and I had moved stuff away and thrown stuff away. And I reached in real gently, talking to the puppy and petting it, letting it know it's safe. And I picked it up. And when I went to go to get up, that's when I lost footing somehow. And I only had one hand. I had to protect the puppy, the little fox cub. So I used my left, and I'm afraid I strained my wrist or whatever I did. Didn't break it or anything. But when I got up and got back out, and I had the puppy in my hand, I put it back down on the ground gently, and I took my jacket off. And you'll see all this in some pictures we have. And I put it into my jacket, one of these, and I just snuggled it in my arms. And I walked down a bit further. And even though my left hand was hurting an awful lot, I somehow managed to get my phone out of my bag. Holding the puppy like this, getting the phone out of my bag, then again putting it back down on the ground, talking gently and softly, and the angels just, how would I say, would we say floating around or moving around? An angel hostess just saying, take it easy, it's okay. And I getting on the phone to my daughter and telling her, I have a little fox cub and it's sick. Can you bring the cage? And she was in shock. So let's say at home we have a cage and they got it into the car and the children came. But while they were driving, I had picked the cub back up and I was holding it in my arms and just talking to it as I walked gently, because I knew it was so important for it to hear the forest, to hear nature. And it's like, in a sense, holding my arm now. This was, my arm is the puppy, the little fox cub, and even when I was carrying it, I could see how sick it was. And I just kept walking gently, and my phone was still on, and my daughter was saying, "We're almost there," and I just kept walking until I got to near the entrance at the end of this little pathway. But every now and then I would stop, because that's very important when you find an animal and you're going to give it comfort. I knew the angels of nature wanted this little cub to have a little peace, not to feel abandoned by its mom. And I thought that was so lovely of them. You know, even as I carried the puppy in my arms, and they would reach out themselves and touch it, you know, pet it. I just love that, but I was very sad knowing it was going to die. I was giving out to God and the angels saying, why couldn't it live? But they said it was too sick. But it was so beautiful. And just the way it responded to, how would you say this, to the love that I was giving it. You know, every now and then it would open its eyes or move its ears and look up at you and be like as if, how would you say, so much light would come from it, and it have a smile on its face, kind of, in that sense. And that was, I knew the little fox cub was feeling the love. It was feeling safe. It was feeling comfortable and warm now, because I had it wrapped up, you know, so it had stopped shivering. It was warm now. So I just kept walking, and I think we're nearly there, but even now, just remembering and hearing is just very beautiful. And even when my whole family came, my grandchildren, they were so excited to see a fox cub. But I had said to them, you must be quiet, and I would do this for them to be quiet, so not to disturb it. And they would pet it. And I suppose, you know, my granddaughter Jessica, when she came, and we had eventually walked across to the car, and in the car she gave the fox cub, a name. She called it Potatoes. And she called it Potatoes because she had a little fox cub cuddly toy, and she had called that Potatoes. And you know, we rang the vet, and even though it was a bank holiday, the vet was so kind here in Thomastown. He said, yes, bring the fox cub. And he said 15 minutes. And I remember the car parked outside his gate because it was closed over, and the next minute it opened because he was there. And he just telling us when we were in the vet and saying goodbye to the little fox cub, and you'll see photographs of that as well. He telling us that it was more than likely the puppy fox cub was gone too far. I think they call it, probably have the wrong name, Will's disease, or, you know, it's from rats. You know, maybe the little cub licked up some urine that a rat had done on the ground, because it didn't look like as if its mom had abandoned it as well, because it was so dehydrated and everything. And the vets just showed us, which I already knew, but explained to the children how sick it was and that there could be nothing done for it. And the most kind thing to be done was to put it to sleep, to send it to foxy heaven. That's what we call it. And I have to say, the next day, myself and my granddaughter talked as we walked back up to where I showed her. I picked up the cub, and she had brought some flowers, and she put the flowers down in that area. And, you know, I love the way she too said, you know, goodbye, Potato. You know, we loved you, and you're gone to foxy heaven, and be happy. It was lovely to see that kindness come from a child. You know, that spiritual connection to nature and to understanding. So I just want to share just that little part of the story. Of course, there's loads more. And I hope to write about that and put it into one of the books. So I'm going to say God bless and love you all. Bye-bye. If you enjoyed my videos today, like and subscribe. Don't miss my latest teachings and meditations.